Will now be recorded.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's John Antonucci. I'll be moderating Ann Ken's High Risk Advanced Metastatic Prostate Cancer Discussion Group tonight, December 9th, 2025. We're going to start out by thanking our sponsors, Bayer, J&J, Telix, Blue Earth Diagnostics, Foundation Medicine, and Novartis for financial support. Alexander, I'll answer your question in just a few moments. We are going to discuss this is a peer-to-peer group. We're not giving medical advice, but we have a lot of experience that we'll share. So if you hear of anything that might be of interest to you or your treatment, please discuss them with your doctors. There's a question that already popped up in the chat. If you see in the upper right-hand part of your screen, there's two squares overlapping each other with a number 3 next to them. If you click that, you'll be able to send a message either to everyone, to the organizers, or to anybody individually. So Jay, one of our new guys, has asked where the recording is going to go, and it is going to be findable on YouTube. Okay, let me start out with Doug.
All right, I'm ready to go.
Okay.
Sorry, I can't get my video working, but it is not cooperating.
Not cooperating.
I can see everybody, but I can't seem to get the camera to do a thing.
Okay. Yeah, the easiest thing is there's a camera on-off button at the bottom. I'm sure you've tried that already.
Didn't do it. Yeah,
and
it says that there's something else using my camera, but there's nothing else open but this meeting. So I'd have to reboot probably, then maybe it would work.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's exactly what you have to do. It's picking it up from a prior use on, Microsoft or something else earlier on, and you'd have to stop and restart. If you want, we could take somebody else first. John could go, you can reboot and then come back in about 2 or 3 minutes and see if that solves it. I'm also going to put, again, I'm sorry guys that I was late. I had a little domestic
I can go ahead.
I mean,
your camera shut.
I'm going to put the telephone number in for GoTo, and GoTo will walk you through it as well.
What's your choice, Doug? Do you want to just forge ahead, or you want to take time to reboot?
We'll just forge ahead because I had a heck of a time getting into the meeting, and I don't want to try to do it again.
You might not get back again.
I think I'd never get back.
Doug, how old are you, Doug?
63, I'll be 64 in a short while.
And where do you live?
I had a 30 PSA in July.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I'll get confused if you jump ahead of me, but first I'd like to know where you live, because that's what I put at the top of my card.
Vermont.
What's that?
Vermont.
Are you there, Doug?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yep, I got you. And you said you live in Vermont, right?
Yep.
Okay. What part of Vermont? Are you down near Boston, or are you way up near?
Yeah, I'm pretty close to Boston. I can get there easily.
Okay, good. Because we got a good treatment center down near you. And how did you get diagnosed? How did it come about?
I had a high PSA 30 at a routine physical. So that started the ball rolling, and, pretty rapid succession I went through. bunch of tests.
So the first one was possibly a MRI?
Yeah, I had an MP MRI.
And what
Showed-
did that show?
It showed, well, it definitely showed a pretty good sized cancer in prostate, and then a little bit of protrusion outside, and lymph node involvement on one lymph node. Or, that's what it looked like to them, right? At that point, you're not 100% sure, but that's where I was at then. So, that
Give
was
you a
followed up with a
PI-RAD
biopsy.
score?
I don't know what the PI-RAD score was. I never really got
Okay.
into the PI-RAD, I think.
Okay, it's more important to get the biopsy information anyway. That's what you were just going to give me, right?
Yeah, the biopsy. So I got a biopsy 4+5, Gleason 9, so pretty aggressive.
How many cores did they
Cribiform,
take?
quite a few, 22 or something. Yeah.
Oh, because they picked up a lot of stuff on the MRI, so they took a lot of cores.
Yeah, and the guy was, he that's his style, is a lot of cores. So
Okay, how many of them
he-
had cancer in them?
from 70%, I think. Yeah.
70%, something like 13 or so. And
Yeah, I'm looking at results here, but it's been expressed as 70% right here.
maybe they mean that 70% of the cores were cancerous, or of one core was cancerous,
Yes.
or something like that. I think.
Yes, 4+5, 2 of 2 cores, 70% and 45% INV plus cribiform. 4+4, 55% and 45% INV. 2+2/2 templated cores and 70% of total fragmented targeted cores plus cribiform and PNI. And then 4+3, 5 of 6 cores.
Okay. 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 So you were suddenly faced with a potentially aggressive prostate cancer with who read that biopsy, by the way?
I had, well, the original, it was read at Mass General. I was working, Dr. Douglas Dow was the guy. He's I don't know, he's a surgeon. He's taken out 5,000 prostates or something, quite a few. Very experienced guy.
But he didn't read the biopsy. He probably
well, his people read the biopsy, and then I also had a consult with MSK, Memorial Sloan Kettering in New York, and they also read it.
What'd they think?
Well, see, I also had a PET scan after this, right?
Yeah, I figured
And
we'd be getting to a PET scan.
So you
But let me
put all the
just ask you
information
one. Let me just ask you one quick question before we go to the PET scan. Did MSK pretty much agree with the Mass General biopsy?
Yes, very much so.
Okay. Okay, go ahead. What were you going to say about your PET scan?
Well, so the PET scan showed, prostate lit up, certain areas of the prostate lit up more than others, and a nearby lymph node lit up pretty good, possibly higher up, and those are unclear, possibly enlarged, possibly lit up, possibly not. So there's been an ongoing discussion about how to treat those, because the treatment for those is more complicated than really the rest of it, right?
Are they located in the pelvis, those other lymph nodes?
No, well, they're aortic. A couple of them are aortic, where they want to treat those, and the methodology for treating is more complicated.
Okay, yeah. So we don't know if those were cancerous or not, but they did take up some contrast. Did they give you what they call an SIV, an SUV on those uncertain ones?
I can tell you what they said about them was that they don't really light up that much. They're enlarged, possibly lit up a little, but not dramatically different than other things. So
Okay.
it's
Well, later
debatable
on,
whether
when
I
you
would
have a
say.
chance later on, see if they gave something called an SUV on those aortic lymph nodes, and also see if they gave an SUV for your liver for background radiation, and we'll see if we can compare, because it seems pretty clear that the one lymph node in your pelvis is likely prostate cancer, but it's not very clear on those other ones, and the treatment is going to depend on whether those are going to be treated like cancer or not. So what happened after your PET scan? Any treatment being discussed yet? And
Yeah. Well, I got a medical oncologist because I realized I should probably get on ADT right away. So I got a medical oncologist and at Dana-Farber, and
who'd you
then
get?
Chowdhury, Dr. Chowdhury,
Okay.
and so I'm taking abiraterone and prednisone and Regulux, which or Orgovax or whatever. I've been taking that for a while, taking a bunch of
How long?
vitamins along, things like that.
How long you been on treatment?
I don't know. We're gonna look it up here. Yeah, I mean, I've been on. Here we go. Yeah, so I started abiraterone on 11/5, and I started Orgovax a month before that. So I'm at 2 months on the Orgovax and 1 month on the abiraterone. And
So when
I've
was
got
your biopsy? Sometime like September or something?
something like that. Yeah,
Okay.
9/18 was the biopsy.
Okay. Do you happen to be a veteran?
Nope.
Have you had any kind of genetic tests at this point?
Yeah, they ran some genetic testing,
What you got?
and nothing of real significance.
No genes found in your genetic testing that run through your family line?
Check 2, I guess.
Check two?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you know the name of that particular genetic panel that you had run?
I don't know the name of the panel. I've been wondering about that. I'll have to get back with them.
Yeah, let's
So,
do that so we can see what kind of tests you had. So do you have family history of cancer?
yeah, my mother had breast cancer. My father had prostate cancer, but did not need to be treated. And my father's sister had breast cancer, and both my mother and my father's sister died relatively young from breast cancer in the 60s or 50s or 60s.
Okay, that is pretty young. Okay, so we got a good picture of what you've been through so far. You're 63, pretty young man to have all this going on, but you've already gotten started on treatment. Has anybody talked to you about radiation yet?
Yeah, I mean, I had to decide. I had conflicting recommendations for surgery versus radiation. I kind of zeroed in that it looks like it should be radiation because most of the doctors I talked to felt like I would end up getting radiation anyway, and I might as well just start there. There's pretty good results with that, and the Stampede or whatever with the stuff that I'm taking. So and this is where it gets complicated because I'm kind of a stickler for technical stuff. So it's like, okay, so I've got a proposed radiation treatment over at Dana-Farber of 33 or 38 sessions. He felt like a longer, more fractions is better to prevent urinary side effects. And in my case, that seems to be of some importance, though it's marginal. I'm not way over the line, but it's marginal.
Why are they
And
particularly concerned about urinary side effects? Do you have a history of urinary problems?
I have, there's some scale, and if you're over 11, you're gonna you're more likely to have problems. And I I started out at 11, and then I started taking Flomax because it was prescribed by the radiation oncologist, and it worked amazingly well. I felt like I was 18 again. And so my symptoms went down to below that number. So, he's like, well, which one would you rather do? And I said, well, I'd rather do the one that has less chance of side effects. So I've got
I see.
that plan. The equipment that he's talking about doing it with is pretty good, but it doesn't have real-time location, but it's good. And these guys, the guy's done 26,000 treatments, so I was like, he's very experienced. So
How long are you proposed to be on your Orgovix? Did they give you a time, like a 2 year?
I think it's 2 years. I think it's 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your main question at this.
Who's your radiation oncologist?
D'Amico is doing it,
Okay.
and then he's brought in a second person because they've added in SBRT to deal with those aortic lymph nodes.
Right.
And
so you're not going to do much better than a Atish, Chowdhury, and D'Amico as a team.
Yeah.
So you've got, I mean, D'Amico's amongst probably the top 5 radiation oncologists in the country, along with Roach and Nagar and Kishan. You got a really good guy heading. You've got a really good guy heading up your onc. If he needs to bring someone else, he for the SBRT, he will. I've known Atish for many years. He's a great guy. He knows us and he knows ANCAN really well. He's great. He's the best. And not only that, he's super tuned in to the patient comfort when it comes to hormone therapy. He's been running a trial for about 2 years on intermittent hormone therapy. So he's very, very tuned into not over treating. So as far as your team is concerned, not only are they good, I wouldn't feel you need other opinions. I think that whatever they advise you is going to be probably right on the money.
Yeah, I understand that, and you're definitely right. He's very in tune to patient experience. I can just tell compared to other doctors who often don't seem to mention it at all. This guy is right on top of that and has brought it up many times. So yeah, he's great. That my concern is I'm considering proton as another option, because when you really get down to the nuts and bolts of it, they have to put me on one machine, and then they got to be off that machine on another machine. It's an MRI guided Linux machine, so it's pretty darn accurate. The thing won't introduce any X-ray unless it's located properly. So they have lots of control.
That's not D'Amico, is it, proposing the proton, or is D'Amico proposing regular?
No. I've got Memorial Sloan Kettering MSK.
Oh, okay.
I've been consulting with them about proton, not the proton group.
And who are you talking to? Who are you talking to at MSKCC? Who's your rad onc there?
Dr. Arani.
I don't know him. Here's what I would say to you, that there is no trials that we're aware of, and we've been following this for a long time, that you've got a fantastic rad onc. I frankly wouldn't bother with MSKCC on this issue. I think you've got a great team. You can make yourself crazy on the technical stuff. A lot of us have been through photon versus proton. Our view here is that, with the photon, there was a study done many years ago. Well, I think maybe more than 10 years ago now, that came out that did compare them and said that the photon was going to be harder in your GU area and your proton was going to be harder in your GI area. There was a study that came out last year, finally, after many years, where they compared them that found no difference. So if it were me personally, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. And if you go down to MSKCC, it's going to be a lot less convenient. Plus, you've got one of the best guys in the country in D'Amico. So that would be our view.
I would personally agree with Rick. I think if it was me, I would be perfectly happy with a plan of IMRT and SBRT under D'Amico using photon therapy and continuing with Orgovyx and abiraterone. What questions do you have, Doug?
Well, I keep coming. So in order to do what they want to do, I have 2 different machines. In order to prevent overexposure, they have to align those, which is doable, I guess. I think it's doable. And the advantage to proton, as I could see it, was that you were able to get a higher dose more accurately into the lymph nodes that are higher up. I think the prostate treatment and the lower abdominal treatment, yeah, I guess I agree. It probably doesn't matter which one it is. But in the upper area, it looks to me like there's a difference. I mean, I went through the imaging, the PET imaging, with the doctor at the proton. She's like, here is this lymph node. It is right next to your bowel. It will be difficult. Yeah, in order to get an SBRT path that doesn't hit that, it's not that easy. Of course. So the option is then, well, you just turn, they can do a lower, a background layer, basically. I don't know what you call it, but and the alternative is, if I'm on a proton machine, they can do 26 sessions or whatever and do everything at once. It's all aligned at once. The machine self-aligns every 2 seconds instead of once a session. So, it has some advantages and less chances of setup errors and better results in the difficult area. So I'm kind of balancing that. I mean, if D'Amico had a proton,
how can we help you, Doug? Doug, how can we help you? Because you've thought about this a great amount, and you have some ideas. Probably. So what would you like to know from us? Because we have 3 new guys, and we've got to try and move along.
Yeah, you can move along. I mean, I got your thoughts on it, and that's helpful. One of the reasons I checked in here is just to see what you guys would say. It's like, I get a lot of opinions on this, of course. So,
yeah. John G., you had a comment for Doug.
Hi, Doug. I just want to say I was in a situation very similar to you, so I just want you to know, you're not alone, and you can get a lot of good information here in terms of like exercise, diet, et cetera. So I just want to say, I'm with you. I don't know how to say it. I don't know what I'm saying, but I'm saying, there's a lot of good resources here.
Yeah, I did listen in on a couple sessions. It's a great group. It's really, really valuable. It's the only place you're going to hear these kind of conversations. So it's really.
After you talk to Dr. Irani, you want to come back and have another discussion with us?
I've already, yeah, I mean, I've talked to them all. I'm driving them all crazy, the different doctor groups,
Oh,
because,
oh, okay. So you actually have talked to MSKCC already, and now you're trying to make a decision?
several
Is that-
times. Yeah, several times. I'm at the
Oh,
decision
okay.
point. So, yeah.
Okay.
Do we have, Doug, have you signed up so that you receive our reminders, our newsletters?
My wife did that for me. Yeah.
Okay, so, all right. Well, you can
What's your
bounce stuff
latest
off.
PSA? Oh, I'm sorry, Rick.
I haven't had one in a little while.
How long?
Oh, it's like about maybe, where is it? There it is. 3.3 on 11/6. So that was a month ago. It went down a lot really quickly. 10/1, it was 30, and 11/6, it was 3. So
Okay.
seems to be working.
Seems to be working. Maybe it'll go lower. You have another one planned, I hope, sometime in the near future.
Yeah, January I get another set of labs.
December, January of 2 months. Okay. And are you feeling all right?
Yeah, I mean, sexual side effects are bad. We're working through that.
Yeah.
But other than that, not really any. I was really sleepy, and then I met with a dietitian, changed my diet a bunch. So now that seemed to make a difference right away. I felt I was getting really tired sometimes, and they mentioned glucose problems, and my glucose had showed up high on a couple labs. I was like, okay, I'll just change how I'm eating, and that overwhelming tired feeling went away.
Oh, good.
And I'm walking and going to the gym and stuff.
When we have more time, I would like to hear a little bit more about that dietitian's instructions. And it sounds like your tiredness is improving and you are exercising. So, yes, if you wish, come back anytime and keep us up to date on your decisions and what happens afterwards. Are you married by any chance?
Yeah, I'm married. Yeah.
Okay, so you have a supportive person?
Oh yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if it's okay with you, Doug, I'm going to move on to one of the other new guys and get some history. And
Great.
we'll follow up with you. I've got some notes. We'll follow up with you next week if you come back, okay?
Yep. I appreciate your insights today. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Jay, still with us? Where are you, Jay? Jay Thompson? Okay. Let's see. I had.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had it turned off. Do you meet next week or the week after?
We meet almost every week. We meet the first 4 weeks of every month.
Oh, okay.
Our next week meeting is going to be Monday at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
How old are you, Jay?
Okay, I'm 64 and
Another young guy. And you were diagnosed just in 2025 yourself. But
right.
Unlike Doug, your PSA was only 4.1.
Yes, it was 3, and then it went up to 5. And then I looked online and they said you shouldn't have sex for 2 days before that. I wish they would tell you that because it came down a whole point.
Okay, so 4.1. But nevertheless, you had a biopsy and you were a 4.4. And was there anything else on your biopsy besides those numbers? Any descriptions of what the cells looked like or where they were found or how many were found?
So they did 16 core samples. After they did the MRI, they did 16, and 4 of them had malignant carcinoma or whatever, and 2 of them were 4+4, but they were only 10% and 15%, and then there were 2 3+4s at 50 and 70%.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, we like to hear a small percentage of grade 4, even in your worst core.
Right. And it seemed like it was in the right side. only on
Oh,
half,
and
but they still call it multifocal.
they called it multifocal?
Yep.
Okay.
And because I think it had, what do you call it, PNI, it's
Yeah.
on the nerve.
Yeah. Yeah.
My main reason for joining today was to, I've only talked to people that had surgery, and most of them were not very satisfied with their sex lives or urinary stuff. So I am meeting with the Mayo Clinic down in Rochester, just doing a video conference call on Thursday. And I have met with 6 different people, and whoever I meet with, it seems like they're the ones that, they're biased enough that they're saying their way is the way to go.
Yeah.
And
We have found a little of that ourselves. Yeah.
It's interesting with Chat GPT, the AI stuff, it will regurgitate a lot of good questions, and it really brings them up to the front and prints them out real nicely. You get a whole bunch of good questions to ask. But
did you have a PSMA scan after your biopsy?
Yes, and it was contained in the prostate, which really helps because here my dilemma, and it's kind of a selfish one. We've signed up to go to Florida for 4 months, and starting January 1st, and I'm under the impression that the doctors that want to do surgery want you right in there right now, and the other everything else online seems to say, take your time, do some research. And and lately I've been leaning towards radiation just because it's not so invasive.
So you're having a discussion with your doctors, many doctors.
Yep.
Surgeons are encouraging you to have a prostatectomy because you're all within the gland and they're holding out the hope of cure.
Yep.
And some of the other people, maybe you've seen a radiation oncologist, are also talking to you about radiation oncology and maybe holding out the hope that you'll have less urinary incontinence or sexual dysfunction.
Correct.
And you're trying to decide right at the present time. Have you had any gene testing of any sort yet?
No, and it seems like what is it, Decipher?
That's one.
That one, Decipher. They want the radiology people want to do that, but not the surgeon said, no, we're going to do what we're going to do anyway. They wouldn't have to do that one right away. So kind of holding off on it. I don't know who requires that or who requests it. I think it's going to be the doctor I go with.
It would be the people who have your slides.
Okay.
So whoever did your biopsy slides, they have them and they would send them to the Decipher people. And sometimes we also send people for a second opinion on reading the slides to make sure you are in fact a 4+4.
Yep. And I asked the doctor about a second opinion, and he kind of said, in his opinion, they're professionals and they're pathologists, and they know what they're looking at. They look under a microscope all day long. But
there are some pathologists who only do this work.
Right.
And they are so good that if there's the slightest ambiguity or the slightest uncertainty about what the treatment course is going to be, you might as well get the best pathologist that's possible that only reads genital urinary cancer slides. So I don't really see why not. As far as the Decipher test is concerned, genetic tests like PROMISE, where we look at your genes that pass down from family members to family members, can be done by a color test for free. We can give you information about that. Decipher will give us some sort of a prediction about whether you're likely to metastasize in the future, and it might lean you a little bit more toward radiation and a little bit less toward thinking you're going to get cured. There's also a nomogram at MSKCC where you fill out the information, And it gives you a prediction that if you have a radical prostatectomy, what's the chances of you having to come back for more treatment afterwards. So all these three methods might help your decision on radiation versus surgery.
Right. And I heard you talking earlier about proton versus photon. And up in St. Cloud, Minnesota, it's a town of about, let's say, 75,000. They do have the photon, and that's an external beam, I guess, radiation. And they
Yes.
said that the Mayo Clinic would have possibly proton, but that's still external beam. But I believe that's a better way to go. But I'm not sure if it's any shorter for the number of treatments. Do you know anything about that? Would it?
Yeah, a
maybe-
lot of external beam therapy is done now with a technique called SBRT, which takes less numbers of fractions, less numbers of treatments, and they can ablate, or they can treat your entire prostate and maybe even some of the areas around the prostate in the pelvis if they think there's risk with SBRT, and they can do it only in a fairly low number of sessions for the prostate, and then a relatively low number of external beam IMRT sessions for the rest of the pelvis. That can be done.
Because that was a determining thing. I'm about 3 hours away from the Mayo Clinic.
Let's expand that a little bit to help Jay.
Okay.
If you go with radiation, well, first of all, let's step back one. I agree with everything that John said, and we really urge you to run this nomogram that we've put in the chat window. The link is in the chat window. You click on it, it'll open up for you in another window. Now, that's going to tell you how likely it is that you'll need radiation. From what you're telling us, there's probably a 40%ish, I'm just guessing from what we know. How many cores were positive out of all that they took?
4 out of 16.
4 of them out of 16, but I think he did double on the ones. He made sure that area really got.
So 4 out of 16 were positive, and there was nothing outside the gland, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so maybe 50%, and your PSA, but your PSA has always been low, which does throw a little bit of a wrench in the works. Your PSA has never been higher than about 4. Is that right?
Yeah. It did go up to 5, but then it went back down a month later.
So if it's never been higher than 4 or 5, that's a signal that the disease might be a little more complicated and a little more variant. Now, you can put this all into this machine, into this nomogram, this calculation. It'll tell you what it thinks based on people like you. The likelihood is that you'll need radiation and hormone therapy anyway. If that likelihood is low, surgery is probably a very good option for you. If that likelihood is high, then you don't need to do surgery on top of having to do radiation and hormone therapy, which you'll do anyway. Now, a couple of other things. We're not huge fans of Mayo for the very reason that you are stating. They all work in silos. They don't work together. Everybody does the best, and there's no collaboration. So
even though they say they have a team, I realize. Yep.
Yeah, they say they have a team, but the team doesn't. The problem is the team doesn't work together. The people in urology don't talk to the people in radiation. The people in radiation don't talk to the medical oncologist. Dr. Kwan doesn't talk to anybody, and it's a joke. And so we see too many people coming from Mayo Rochester who aren't happy. And just because they've got the name Mayo doesn't mean they're the best. if it were me personally and I lived in that area, I'd go to Masonic before I went to Mayo. And with Barry, as you know, and you know Barry, we moved Barry away to a very, very good doctor who's recently joined Mayo about a year and a half ago. So we have a lot of confidence in her. But the surgeons there, they love to cut. They'll cut anything. They'll sell you photon over proton when frankly we don't think it makes a whole heck of a lot of difference. I think the biggest thing for you, and to tell you that doesn't really matter who reads your slides is bullshit. It matters a huge amount who reads your slides. Because right now we don't have sufficiently good AI to be able to read slides based on AI. So it depends on the eye of the doctor who is looking at those slides. And there are 2 or 3 or maybe 4 really good eyes in the country. And those are the people who want to read your slides. And I would put any slide up against any doc, any pathologist at Mayo against Epstein or Zhao or a couple of other guys. And that's what you should be relying on. That is what we maintain here at ANCAN. Other people have different views, but we have a lot of experience and we've been proven right many, many times. So the first thing for you to do is decide, do I want to do surgery or do I want to do radiation? You got to get treated with that 4+4. Where you get treated is a whole nother issue. In my view, it wouldn't be at Mayo, Rochester. Might be at Mayo Jacksonville. It might be at Mayo Phoenix. It wouldn't be at Mayo Rochester.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an insurance thing right now because, we're looking at December 15th. I have to switch insurances because I'm not 65 yet, so I don't have Medicare. And so I have to go to another one that's $500 more a month. And the Mayo Clinic right now is going to charge me $510 for a half-hour video conference on Thursday, out of pocket. And that's not a lot of money, but they did say it would be $90,000 to have this surgery.
Okay, if I were you, I'd rethink Mayo.
Yep.
Does your insurance cover Masonic?
And that's down in the Minneapolis area?
Yeah.
I'll have to check.
Okay, check if your insurance, you do want to go to a center of excellence, and you can tell your insurance you want to be treated at a center of excellence. The options around where you are would be Mayo, which wouldn't be my favorite, Masonic, or Carbone in Madison. I don't know what part you are.
St. Cloud area. Does St. Cloud come up?
No, there's not that I know. There's no centers of excellence in St. Cloud.
The one guy I did meet with last week, he's done some friends of mine, and he's done it for 18 years, thousands of them. And he came from the Mayo Clinic, but again, pushing surgery.
Again, the problem is you don't want somebody who's really going to push one or the other. And if you go to anybody at a community practice, they're going to push what they do because that's how they earn money.
Right.
So and the problem also is in most centers of excellence that doesn't happen. So you can go to a center of excellence and be assured that they'll give you a fair, whether you see a urologist or a radiologist, they're going to give you a fair shake. But that's not true. We know from long experience it ain't true in Mayo. So I'd be looking for the first thing I probably would do is I would send those slides away ASAP. Especially since you're such a low, low PSA, we want to rule out introductal. And did you say they had done a germline test or not?
No.
Germline. No, I'm not sure what that is.
Inherited mutation. Have you had a test for any inherited mutations?
No.
Okay, so you got to get a test for inherited mutations immediately. I mean, this is something really we would have hoped Mayo as a center of excellence would have done. There is a link in the chat window, PROMISE, for the PROMISE study. You can get that done right away there. But we need to rule out a few things. In my view, we need to rule out a few things because that 4 + 4 with a PSA of just 4 is a concern. Dr. Paul, what strikes you, when you see a man with a 4 + 4,
well,
locations,
I'd
PSA
like you
is
say
not high.
getting a second read is critical because that makes all the difference in making some decisions. And the time issue is, I would disagree with whoever said you got to have something done this month. Better to get your ducks in order, so to speak, get all the information, because it's been clearly proven that months of delay, while it may be anxiety provoking, are not disease spreading. So it's best you get all things in order and know what you're dealing with and not worry about a time gate that you need to get through.
But since they did the MRI and the PSMAT or whatever, the PET scan, that pretty much confirms that there is a cancer there.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes, there's a cancer there. But I mean, the COVID pandemic provided interesting information, and because everything shut down and things were delayed, and for some cancers that was dramatically disastrous, and for some diagnostic issues, but for men who had a diagnosis delaying 3 months, 6 months in therapies did not. And everything is, nothing's absolute 100%, but there's a high degree of certainty that waiting, getting the information and making your decision is critically more important than getting it done.
Okay, I hear you. And they also said that you can't get in, they can't schedule you until March or April, either place, St. Cloud or Mayo Clinic. So it's not like they're in a hurry to do surgery, or they're backed up quite a bit. I've started this whole journey back in June or July when I just mentioned I should probably do a PSAT or a PSA.
PSA.
They never even talked about that in my local hospital until I was 63 years old.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing you thought about it.
Well, what happened was I had blood in my semen for about 4 years, and I thought, it's prostatitis or something, and they never are going to try to treat that. Now they say, well, with a cancer diagnosis, maybe it'll go away if they take out my seminal vesicles and whatever may be causing it.
Where are you going to Florida?
Fort Myers, not by Jacksonville. There is a Mayo there too, but not.
Well, you got a good proton treatment center in Tallahassee. Is it Tallahassee? Yeah, I think it's Tallahassee.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Hey,
that's another thing.
Jay, are
Insurance
you a
doesn't cover
veteran?
outside of the state. Go ahead.
Jay, are you a veteran?
No.
Okay.
Veteran teacher.
Do you have any other medical problems, serious medical problems?
Nope, none.
Okay. And you exercise and eat right?
Yes. I was a science teacher, physics and chemistry for 40 years.
I see your email is SciGuy.
Yeah.
Are you married? Do you have a social support system?
I do. I was married, but now I have a girlfriend.
Okay. Okay, so lots of ducks to still put in a row. Okay? Get your
Right.
slides read, talk about promise tests, talk about MSKCC nomograms, and talk about the cipher tests. Maybe switch to a different facility, get some of the best doctors you can. Follow up with us right along the path so we can guide you each step of the way.
Right. I'm thinking about changing my insurance to Medica, and I don't know. They do cover the Mayo Clinic area, probably the cities too, but I'll have to check on that.
I do perfectly fine with standard Medicare and a Blue Cross Blue Shield behind that, and I travel a lot.
I'm not old enough. I don't
He
have
doesn't have it.
Medicare.
He's not old enough, John. He mentioned that to us.
In a few months, though, he will be, I think.
Oh, in September. Yeah, so that was
Oh,
an
not till
option
next
too.
September. Okay. Okay, thank you, Rick.
They kind of didn't want me to wait until next summer.
No. So Jay,
Yep.
we got to move on because we've still got one more guy. We're running way behind. I will put also in the chat window for you a choice of a couple of docs that you can use to get those your biopsy second opinion. You have to do that through whoever did the biopsy. So if it was done at Mayo, you just tell Mayo you want these slides sent to one of these two docs, okay?
Okay. It was done at St. Cloud, but yep.
Okay, in St. Cloud, and it should be covered by your insurance.
I'm gonna move on to Alexander now.
Thank you.
And you other two new guys, we're gonna hopefully see you in the future and continue the discussions. So Alexander will take about 15 minutes. That should give me about 40 or 45 for the rest of the guys. Where are you on my picture here? Can you just raise your hand or something so I can find you? Oh, there you are. Okay, thank you very much. So it's LALOV, and you are from Indiana. How old are you, Alexander? Alexander, I can't hear you. Tell us your age. I want to see if your microphone's working. We got to fool around with your microphone a little bit more. Try.
Back. Okay.
Okay, good. How old are you?
Since this will be public, I will keep some things private.
Do you want me to keep your last name private?
No, that's okay.
Okay. How about your age?
64.
Okay, 64.
Also, like
Are you
Jay.
single, married, have social supports?
Single, living by myself.
Okay. And when were you diagnosed?
2020.
Okay.
October. I had for 5 years I had a difficulty urinating, and since 2015, and always I've been told, oh, you have a BPH, medications, but nothing else. And finally I decided I need to do something, and I scheduled myself a HOLEP procedure.
What year was that?
2020 of
2020?
October.
Okay.
And
what was your PSA like when you got the HOLEP?
4.7 something.
Okay.
But I was taking finasteride at this time.
Okay.
And this means it should be counted as like 9 or 10 PSA.
And then what happened after your
something
so you had the HOLEP treatment, but you were not on any hormones or radiation or anything like that. Okay. And then what?
The day after the HOLEP, because they do routine pathology, they said, oh, you have cancer. for 5 years, I've been having cancer because it was Gleason 9, 4 plus 5. And
when was your biopsy then? 2020 also?
whole lab, no biopsy.
You were 4 plus 5 on the whole samples.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I understand. Yeah.
And this was my diagnosis at 59. Then radical prostatectomy. 2 months later, PSA rising. 4 months later, started docetaxel and Lupron on April 13.
Of 2020?
21.
21, okay.
And
why did you do that? What you had the radical prostatectomy. Where did they find the cancer had metastasized to in order to give you the chemo?
18 lymph nodes. It was spread over the whatever left from the prostate, seminal vesicle, and also 18 lymph nodes.
Picked up on a PET scan?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, 18. This was from the radical prostatectomy, but before that, on the MRI also showed a few.
Okay. And was there anything that showed up that was more distant than in the immediate area where they did the surgery? Did you do a PSMA? Were you able to do a PSMA at that time? They were available, but they were hard to get.
No, it wasn't available for me. It became available after the radical prostatectomy.
Yeah. So as far as we know, there was no distant metastasis at that time.
There were a couple, at least, that show up on the MRI around a couple of vertebrae. And as I said,
in the lymph nodes, or there was. So these were in the lymph nodes, or there were spots on the vertebrae?
No, this was lymph nodes around vertebrae. This is
around
the location of the lymph nodes close to vertebrae. I don't remember, T5 and L12 or something.
Okay.
But I started chemo and ADT in April because after radical prostatectomy, the PSA was rising.
Yeah.
And finished chemo. So far, 5 years, still continue on ADT on Lupron. PSA was keeping stable. The last 2 blood work showed that raised it from 0.008 to 0.01. And I'm here because Eric mentioned, I had a question in a different forum, and Eric suggested that I attend your meeting because in addition to Lupron, from a year ago, I started GLP-1 for my diabetes.
Okay.
I lost 112 pounds.
Wow.
If you see a picture from me 2 years ago, you wouldn't say that I'm the same person. But because it's a double whammy.
Have you ever been, Alex, have you ever been on a second-line anti-androgen?
Not yet.
Not yet. And who is managing your care?
My oncologist.
And where's your oncologist?
Indiana University Health.
Is he a GU med-onc or is he a general med-onc? Is he a genitourinary medical oncologist or is he a general medical oncologist?
I'm not sure.
Okay, well, we need to be sure because it's very strange in a situation like this where you had docetaxel, that you've back in 2020 that you've only ever been on Lupron and they've never added a second-line anti-androgen. And that's probably why you've been on it for 5 years. The treatment doesn't make sense. This is basic treatment. And what we've got to get, we got to get you to somebody who's a genitourinary specialist.
I didn't need so far because my PSA was undetectable, and so far it's still undetectable.
Well, but why have you been on Lupron for 5 years?
Because I wanted to be. My oncologist says, let's stop the ADT to see if the PSA gonna start rising.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense to be on to put yourself on Lupron for 5 years when you don't need it, because it's going to hurt you more than help you, and it's going to turn your body against the cancer. So any oncologist who allows you to be on Lupron when you don't need to be on Lupron, we got to be saying, what are they doing? I mean, yes, we could put you on two.
My desire to continue, that I didn't want to get to the point to stop the Lupron and see the PSA start rising. As I said, I'm not a doctor, but
yeah. So you made the decision to do what you considered. You thought you were playing it safe, continuing on Lupron, even though your oncologist.
Something is still working.
Yeah, you thought it was still working because you were non-detectable. So now your last PSA, when you said it was 0.01, did you mean less than 0.01 or 0.01?
0.01.
0.01. So, okay. So are you at all worried that it's coming up again?
No, not yet. The gradient between two tests, I still don't see fast rising.
Okay. Did you ever get any kind of genetic testing?
Yeah, genetic, genomic, and I don't have BRCA, I have something else. And
what is it?
It's not inherited. At least the germline showed that I don't have inherited cancer.
Okay. But the genomic showed something?
Genomic, Caris.
Caris, yeah.
Was it Caris or Foundation? Let me see. Caris. MRE 11 PTEN and TMPRSS2. These three show.
Okay. And that was on a tumor sample, not on your genes, not on your.
It was. I don't remember. It was 4 years ago.
So now the reason
I'm not sure if they sent any. I'm not sure if it's possible to use the slides. But
so why did you actually come to us at this particular point?
Because Eric suggested that I may be able to find information that I'm looking for on this forum, because I'm on Lupron and at the same time on Mounjaro for my diabetes.
That's okay.
It's a double whammy for muscle loss.
Yeah.
I've been doing resistance training every day for a year so far.
Good.
And there is no visual effect, at least.
Yeah, but at least you're not. Maybe it's slowing down the wasting of your muscles.
Yes, and that's why I'm here to ask any one of you that is on ADT, doing resistance training. Any one of you had a success, and what's exactly the best regimen? Any one of you that have experience?
Well, you're already
Because
doing resistance training.
Supplements, protein, creatine, magnesium, and without
exercise.
testosterone. This was my question. Any one of you had a success building muscle that is on ADT in the absence of testosterone?
Okay. Okay. Good question. Anybody want to contribute?
Yeah,
Got a lot
I'll
of
answer.
period.
John, let me say something about that.
Okay, Jack.
The odds of having a success in terms of reducing sarcopenia and building muscle with no testosterone are virtually none. So if you can do it, tell me how it works, because from what I've heard and from what I've read and from what I've experienced personally, until you start building up testosterone to a fairly sufficient level, you're not going to rebuild muscle. No matter how much resistance training, no matter how much creatine you take, no matter how much protein you ingest, I've tried it all, and it really doesn't work. And I do a lot of resistance training, and I just watch my muscles, and nothing happens.
Jeff?
Yeah, I've been on ADT for 8 years. About a year ago, I found I couldn't get off the floor without pulling myself up on a chair or a bed. I started going to the gym. After 4 months of going to the gym 3 times a week and taking protein 3 times a day, my muscles got better. I've been able to get up all on my own. On top of that, I'm using stronger weights when I go to the gym. I've slowly been able to increase the amount of weight I've been using. So yes, you can build your muscles if you're on testosterone. Well, if you have no testosterone, which I have none, it's less than 5. It's worked for me. It may not have worked for Jack. I'm 78, and I started doing this at 77 after I'd been on ADT for 7 years. So I'm an example of somebody that's been able to do it.
What's the secret? What nutrition wise and
you have to take protein, enough protein. I was taking 3 days. I take either protein cereal. I add chicken to my salad at lunch. I have chicken or fish for dinner with protein in it, and that seems to make a big difference. My son, who's a personal trainer, says you need over 125 milligrams of protein a day.
Grams.
It's what I've been aiming for every day.
Well, it's
100, over 100.
I mean, I couldn't get off the floor, and now I can. And I built up my muscles. I can definitely get up and down easier, quicker. It just works, but maybe because I've been on it so long, I don't know.
Let's see what Russell has to say. Russell, Dr. Seneca.
Well, I sort of disagree with Jack. I mean, I go to the gym at least 5 days a week, and I think for me it's maintenance. I joke with my wife, I'm going to get buffed up. Well, I've been the same for 20 years. No increased muscle mass. I have a scale that's, it's not, really scientific, but it gives you some accuracy of what your muscle mass is. And I'm just happy to maintain what I have. I mean, we're not going to get buffed up. I don't see how, without testosterone, you're going to increase muscle mass. I just don't see how it happens. I've tried, and it doesn't work for me.
Well, I'm not sure I understand how you disagree with me. You sound exactly like me. What's the disagreement, Russell?
I'm saying I don't think that you can increase your muscle mass when your testosterone is extremely low.
That's exactly what I said. So where's the disagreement? I'm confused.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jack, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm disagreeing with Alexander.
Or with Jeff.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
Jeff Marchi.
Or with Jeff, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Jack. Totally.
Thank you.
Larry, do you want to give your perspective briefly?
I've been. I'm on your side 100%. I've been diagnosed. I guess I'm on 8 years or
Hey,
maybe
Larry?
9. Well, can you hear
Larry?
me? Yes.
Yeah, but because of the speech delay that we experience, I already got another guy started to talk. So let me get you in a minute, okay?
All right.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Larry.
We have
Oh,
two
I
Larrys.
said Larry. Oh, I'm sorry. No, that wasn't because of the speech delay. It's because I used the word Larry. Sorry about that, guys. Let me go with Larry in Alaska and then Larry Fish and John G. And let's make it quick because I got a bunch of guys to still get to.
I've been testosterone suppressed for a year and a half. I immediately lost about 20% of my strength. I started a program that the YMCA has called Live Strong. If there's a YMCA close to you, you could probably get in on it. And started exercising, and I've gained back some of the muscle strength I lost. Now, I don't know about my lean muscle to fat ratio because I haven't been able to have that scanned, but if you work at it, you can at least maintain. But I'd also recommend you take a look at your bone density. Make sure you're not losing any bone.
Good
Yes,
point.
this is something that I ask my oncologist that we monitor, and my insurance allowed. I'm on Medicare, and it's allowed every 2 years. But I was looking, and I can't find a body composition scan that will give me some idea what's going on with my muscle mass. But
Probably insurance won't pay for it anyway, but do get the DEXA scan every 2 years to make sure your bones are okay.
Yeah.
Let me go back to Larry Fish, who I accidentally invited in before, and then we'll get to John.
Hey, John. So I am 100% with Jeff Marchi. I'm 9 years in. I am also on Manjuro. I lost 45 pounds, but I found that the way to maintain and slowly, very slowly, but steadily improve is to push myself to muscle failure. And additionally, taking like aerobic class to push my heart rate high, HI, high intensity interval training. So on Thursday, I take a core training and a high intensity training. On Friday, I do my own thing. I go to a dance class. On Saturday, I do 2 classes, one at 9, that's a complete strength training, and the other at 11, which is more of an activity training. And then I'm back in Brooklyn, and I make sure to work out at least twice. Once I'm doing the farmer's walk with increasing weight before I could only do like 2 15-pound weights to go between 1 mile. I worked it up to 3 miles. Then I switched to 20 pounds. Now I'm working on 25-pound farmer's walks and they're very challenging. And then I do like a YouTube 60-minute full body workout on Tuesday. So I rest on Sundays and Wednesdays, but otherwise I work out every day. And I try to push myself, and then until you get DOMS, delayed onset muscular soreness, and then you have to rest a day or whatever I need to, and then as soon as I can, when it's not really completely, when it's not very strong, I push myself again, and it's very hard. It's very slow, but over like 3 years, I went from no push-ups to 3 push-ups to lunges, to be able to do 20 squats, to be able to walk 5 miles with weights. To get my heart rate to be a little higher and still be able to not go completely out of breath. So it's possible.
I think that so what I'm going to interrupt you, Larry, because of time.
That's it. I said.
So I think you got a couple of votes in favor of building muscle, a couple of votes against it. In terms of the building muscle, I think Larry's suggestion is really good, which is that don't do a certain number of repetitions, do repetitions until failure. I want to see what John G has to say.
Let me just say one thing to Larry. Larry, I'm so impressed. You're so motivated, and I'm not as motivated as you are, and I'm guilty. I think if I worked as hard as you, I'd either die or or I'd build muscle and develop a higher VO2 and all the other things that you're developing. I just don't have that kind of
Very,
drive anymore. And I think it could
very.
be age related, I think. I'm gonna blame it
70.
on my
I'm
fucking age.
77. But I want to say that it puts you in a really good mood when you see
Okay.
little improvements. And it takes me, I really try to work out a good 5 days a week and at a intensity level as I possibly can. And even if, you don't feel like it, but afterwards you feel better an hour later or 6 hours later. You really get in a good mood because you did it. And you have to stick with it. And it's like my priority. That's what I can do. I can't change the course of my
Okay, guys. John, great guys. John G, and then Dr. Russ, and then I'm going to move on. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go real quick. Yeah, I wasn't really exercising too much, and I was having dramatic muscle loss. And just a little bit of exercise, it's slowing and maybe reversing it. Resistance training, it doesn't take so much, and it's also really important to keep your bones strong. So, I looked at AI. AI says yes, exercise is important for maintaining muscle, and it can very moderately increase muscle, even with zero testosterone, according to the AI, for what that's worth. I'll post a thing in the chat.
Thank you. Russ?
Yeah, I was just thinking about, we don't have any great measurements of muscle mass. I mean, I have a scale from Y things that sort of gives you a gross estimate, but to me, that would be the issue. How much exercise you're going to do and how much muscle mass you're going to generate with, pretty intensive work, as one of the speakers just talked about. So I think for most of us, I think it's all about maintaining what we have, whether it's flexibility, muscle mass, etc. But for once you get a certain age, I don't think you're going to increase your strength considerably. That's my opinion.
Okay.
John, before you move on, I just want to finish up with that.
Yeah, I was going to get back to your point, Rick. I don't want to leave his discussion without him getting an MO, because who actually knows if he even needs to be on Lupron now and may even be able to have his own testosterone? Who knows?
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's that. Thank you, John. I mean, the point here, Alexander, is the reason you're in the state you're in is because you've been on ADT by choice for the last 5 years. That's causing the muscle and you may not even need to be there. So the first thing you've got to do is allow some, if you can. Now, fortunately, you're only 64. So you're in a much stronger place, much more advantageous place than the guys you've been listening to. If you don't get off that ADT soon, you'll never get testosterone back in your system, even when you choose to come off of it. But the first thing you've got to do is, one, get yourself a genitourinary medical oncologist who knows how to treat you. Because in our view, you're not in the right treatment program. You may think you are, but it's having huge side effects on you. That's why you put on 112 pounds. From having
off 112 pounds, took off.
No, he put it on to take it off.
Before he took it. Oh,
how did he get himself in a situation where he needed that? You did
probably Lupron.
It was for Lupron.
Yeah,
it was lymphedema that built up in my belly. I had like a basketball in my abdominal.
But it's all related to being on the ADT. Where do you live? What city are you in? Indianapolis, or where are you?
Close to Indianapolis, 70 miles from Indianapolis.
Okay, I mean, I would say Indianapolis doesn't have a particularly strong prostate cancer group. I'm aware of this. I know they're trying to build it up. I would get yourself to Chicago or to Michigan, to University of Chicago or to University of Michigan. We can give you names of really good medical oncologists in those places and start working with them. Get you on a path to get yourself recovered here. That's what you need. You don't need anything that fancy. You don't need all these fancy things they talk about on Cancer Patient Lab all the time. You don't need any of that stuff. What you need is a good doc and somebody to tell you. You need a proper GU medical oncologist, and we'll line you up with them. Just get hold of us. You can write to me. You can write to Dr. John, put the thing. We'll direct you to somebody who's a strong GU medical oncologist and get you on the right program. Get some testosterone back into you. You'll feel like you'll feel great. And that's how I'd wrap it up, John.
Okay, thank you very much. Took the words right out of my mouth.
Thank you,
Alexander,
everybody.
Alexander, you're welcome to come back anytime you want and continue with us. We'd love to see how this works out. I am going to get to our regulars, and I apologize for the fact that we haven't really had time for as much give and take between everybody as we usually do because of our list. But let's do so now. Steve R. Steve Rue, what did you have in mind that you'd like to bring up?
Well, I have a significant update with my ADT, with my therapy. I had a meeting with my oncologist Thursday. And quite frankly, I was a little bit, I think I mentioned this before in a previous meeting, that I had a sudden hearing loss issue, and we feel like it was because of the abiraterone. So
yeah, it's just on one side.
Yeah, just one ear, just the one ear. And so I stopped taking that abiraterone. That was probably a month ago. Hearing has slightly improved, but during the course of the meeting with the doctor, within the last few weeks, I've had severe spinal pains. It was so bad I was redefining pain level 10 daily. Every day I found a new 10. And the x-ray showed some osteopenia and some moderate to severe, as well as what looked like scoliosis or early scoliosis. So it dawned on me I hadn't had a DEXA scan in almost 3 years. So I told him I'm not happy about that. That when, I know he's a big fan of CT scans, looking for Mets. So the CT scans were all fine. We didn't find any Mets or anything, but we're going to schedule now the DEXA. And as we got to talking about going forward for monitoring for PSA, I mentioned to him that he previously talked to me about something called Signatera from Natera. And I told him I was wanting to jump on that. The whole idea of circulating tumor DNA in my blood sounded like a whole lot more of an early warning for recurrence than waiting for PSA to come up, weeks, months later. So he made a phone call, and sure as hell, they do have a program for monitoring. And so I got a phone call from those guys. They're going to drop a kit on my porch tomorrow. They even have a mobile phlebotomy service. If you're out in a rural area, they'll come to you to draw the blood. They have a specific way that sample needs to be handled. And then they can start doing surveillance. You're looking for circulating tumor DNA in lieu or at the same time as looking at PSA levels as well. So I'm signed up for that. Had a great talk with them. They explained to me that was going to be submitted to the insurance just like any other claim. And if they denied it, they will appeal it up to 4 times. Apparently, they have a lot of experience with with appeals, with insurance companies using this technology. And she assured me that after 4 appeals, if they still didn't pay it, it wouldn't cost me anything out of pocket. So we're gonna move forward with some new way to monitor, and I'm pretty excited about that. It sounds like that's a lot more, a lot, I don't know, it's just a lot more, you know, it seems to me it's like trying to determine if there's somebody in a house, in a neighborhood, and you're driving by and you don't see lights on. 2 weeks later, the PSA's rising and there's the garbage on the curb. With this, it's like looking for the lights on. You know instantly somebody's in the house, you know. You're not waiting for the weekly garbage out on the curb. So to me, it's going to be, I think, a benefit for monitoring going forward. The CT scans all look good, though. My PSA currently, as of today, the last test, it was undetectable, as is my testosterone being virtually undetectable. So I'm looking forward to a little kick in testosterone coming up soon. I'm going to put it to good use and start hitting the fitness center and the gym a little more. Just as a comment to what I was hearing a minute ago, I never tried to buff up, but between the Lupron and the abiraterone, I just tried to stay in enough shape that I wasn't suffering from horrible fatigue. Natera's got a great little website if you want to know more information. I got phone numbers too if you need them or whatever. But it sounds like a.
Let me jump in, Steve. We've been following Natera for a long time. In fact, Dr. John and I met with them back in February. Now, and we've talked about them here, but that said, we are not aware that they were addressing prostate cancer. So this is news to us. It must be something pretty recent, because even
that's why I wanted to bring this up tonight. I wanted to let you know they are doing it now.
Yeah, well, I attended a Natera presentation just about 2 weeks ago, and they said they still said they weren't doing prostate cancer. So this is really interesting to us. We're familiar with the technology. They are usually what they do, and I don't know if they're doing it with you, is they take a sample of your own cancer so they can sensitize the test. How are they going to take a sample of your cancer?
They're going to pull that from the biopsy that I had from my urologist 3 years ago.
How many years ago?
It's a 3-year-old.
Yeah, you see, again, I would be concerned with that, and I'd be talking to them, because cancer changes, and if they're basing their Natera MRD test, minimal residual disease test, on cancer from 3 years ago, that ain't gonna work. It's too long ago, and you got to be having serious discussions with them on that.
Are they going to be pulling a new
sample? At least to moderate that concern a little bit. Rick is absolutely right, but fortunately, you've only been ill for a few years and your cancer is not moving. So maybe nothing genetically has happened in your cancer in those last few years. Maybe we'll be lucky.
Well, I believe the genetic testing that I had at the time, yeah, it indicated that there wasn't anything hereditary or any other markers to be watching out for.
Yeah, well, hopefully it hasn't had time to really change. What have you been doing with your prednisone so far through all this ear stuff?
Well, when I stopped taking the abiraterone, I started half dosing the 5 milligram tablets. I had asked him for a lower dosage, and he said, I'll get back with you, and I never heard back. So I just started cutting tablets in half, taking 2.5 a day.
Okay.
Without the abiraterone. I was trying to wean myself off of the prednisone.
Okay. Rick, I interrupted a little bit. Did you finish what you were going to say there?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm just really concerned that I mean, I'm very surprised. But clearly they are, because Steve's been in direct touch with them. But I'm also concerned about how they're doing it.
But they're probably taking a blood sample also, right?
They are. They're taking a blood sample now. in it, and then they're going to look at the biopsy that was taken of the actual tumor. That takes 4 weeks.
They may be able to get some genetic information from your liquid sample as well. How long to be on 2.5 milligrams prednisone, would you say? We'd like to see it stretched out a little bit, especially since you're having back pain and going through other things.
Well, I was willing to go ahead and finish out that last prescription I had, but the oncologist said if I've been taking 2.5 without the abiraterone for almost a month, he said you could probably stop taking prednisone now.
All right. I was going to suggest we'd like to see it a month anyway, so.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's blood work to kind of monitor what the adrenal gland's doing.
Any comments for Steve other than what Rick had to say?
Yes.
Jack?
Yeah. I've been dealing with Signatera for about 3 years, and they've always been overly enthusiastic about what they can do for prostate cancer. And I've heard the opposite from my oncologist and other people, that they're nowhere near what they're talking about. The reps talk it up about, yes, we can send us a sample. We're going to be able to match it up in your blood and find out if there's minimal residual disease or whatever. And I don't think they're there. Some of the reps think they're there, but I don't think in truth they have anything for prostate cancer, as Rick said, available at this time that's going to make a difference.
Jack, you need to make the point that you've been doing it in a clinical trial. Hasn't been openly available.
That's Caris. That's Caris. I mean, that's Foundation One. That's not Signatera. No, that was on my own. I dealt with Signatera before I even joined this group, trying to figure out what was going on with me. Remember, in search of where the PSA was coming from. So that was part of my original, quest for finding out where my metastasis was. So I spoke to.
Was that a trial though that you were on with Signatera?
No,
that might be what I'm going through. This might be a trial that I'm in right now. I don't know.
Yeah, if it's available, take it.
Can't hurt.
All right, Steve, keep us up to date. And I'd like to jump over to Bob Young. He's probably got some genetic or nomogram information for us. So let's see what's going on with Bob.
Thank you very much, John. Yeah, I have a bunch of information, and I just wanted to get some advice from the group. Just to recap, I had prostate cancer diagnosed in September. Had the MRI on October 12th. It showed a definite cancerous, suspicious area on one side of the prostate. I had a biopsy on October 24th. The UCLA pathology lab found about 5 out of the 17 samples had definite cancer, and they rated it at 5+4. Per your guys' recommendation, I sent the slides, had UCLA send the slides off to Dr. Epstein, or Epstein. He reviewed them. Epstein, thank you. He reviewed them, and he came back with a lower rating of 4+3.
Wow.
Which he doesn't apparently do very often. He seems to, by his own admission, generally upgrades people's ratings. I also, that just happened, I just got that a few days ago, the Epstein report. And then I went in for a PSMA PET scan on Friday at UCLA's hospital in Santa Monica. I just got that report this morning. They found no regional nodal involvement. So apparently, according to their reading of the PET scan, the cancer seems to be contained in the prostate, although they did see one very suspicious spot on a vertebra. So they would like me to get a spinal MRI on that vertebra, and I've scheduled that, but that's not going to be for a couple of weeks. So at this point, I am waiting to meet radiation oncologist Amar Kishan tomorrow afternoon, and then to meet with a second opinion medical oncologist, Edwin Posadas at Cedars-Sinai, next week to get information from both of them, because clearly I'm at kind of a crossroads. My cancer appears to be somewhere on the borderline between intermediate and aggressive. Could be either one. It's a kind of an artisanal judgment these guys make. They're very expert, but it's a judgment. And so I'm looking at, radiation or surgery, or my question is active surveillance an option for someone in my situation, or is treatment, that is to say radiation or surgery, clearly indicated for someone?
There are a minority of people with 4+3 pathology that can have active surveillance, but they have very, very small amounts of Gleason grade 4 pathology. And it's hard to tell for you because you went from a 4+5 to a 4+3. You also supposedly had cribiform pathology present in your original biopsy, and Epstein apparently said no.
Yeah, Epstein does not show cribiform.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm happy to hear that. So I'm a little skeptical about active surveillance, given all this. I don't know what the other guys think.
Well, then the second question,
we were going to get a promise test also, and
yes, I sent away for it. They've received my material, and they keep sending me emails saying, "Boy, we've got your material, and we're going to send you something soon." And I've also, but that hasn't happened. And I've also asked for the Decipher test, so I'm hoping that comes through. So yes, my first question was, is active surveillance an option? I sort of suspected what you would all say, that it's not exactly. So then the question is surgery, do I have a reasonable chance that surgery might leave me somewhat cancer-free for a number of years, knowing that it's likely in 5 or 10 years, I might come back with a recurrence and have to do radiation at that point. But might surgery provide me with a reasonable number of years without what is described by my friends as pretty beleaguering side effects of radiation and hormone therapy?
Well, I would like to hear what Rick has to say. He's got his hand up, but I would say that, first of all, you were going to do that MSKCC nomogram to predict whether surgery is even a good idea or not. But if you could get that 5 or 10 years with ADT or radiation rather than surgery, if it was me, that's what I would do.
Because of what is the just so because I'm certainly open to all of this. Is the primary objection to surgery the strain on the? I'm 73 years old. The strain on the body and the sort of after effects of the surgery, is that the primary worry?
Yes, and the long-term high possibility of incontinence and impotence.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Go ahead, Rick. Sorry.
Well, first of all, we're just thrilled with this result from Epstein, as hopefully you are too. Now you see why we were pushing you so hard to get that, because your whole decision making changes now.
Yes.
You're in our view, you're not a candidate with 5 out of 17 cause positive. And 4+3. That's not a situation where you can really consider active surveillance. So, if it were me, most of us in this room, we would say no. We've got to do treatment. What type of treatment? If it was me, I'd go to Kishan and I'd have him do an MRI Linac procedure, and you may have to go in 2 or 3 times, at the most 4, and you're done. As far as hormone Linac, Linac. That is the procedure Kishan prefers. It takes place, it's a radiation therapy that takes place in an MRI machine.
Got it, yeah.
And he can do that in 2 or 3 sessions. Now, be sure to ask him about the Prostox test, Prostox, Prostox.
Test,
but
okay.
You could be done in 3 or 4 sessions. At the most, he himself just published a meta study. He was the final author, showing, and I put it in the reminder 2 weeks ago, showing that you don't need more than 6 months hormone therapy. 6 months hormone therapy isn't going to do a whole heck of a lot of damage versus surgery at age 73, where you could have all kinds of side effects. So for me, if it were me, it's a no-brainer. I'd go with Kishan. I do the MRI Linac, assuming the prostate test says I'm a good candidate for SBRT.
Me too.
SBRT. Okay. All right.
Well,
so I just need
just talk about MRI Linac. The MRI Linac automatically is SBRT. You can't do anything else. It's the type of radiation rate the MRI Linac delivers is SBRT radiation. But you can't, this has switched around from what was a horrible situation back when we talked to you on 11/11 to a situation where, my gosh, it could be terrific and you could be done and dusted. And yes, you'll have to do 6 months worth of hormone therapy. Most likely, that's probably what Dr. Kishan is going to say. But 6 months is easy. You do it on Orgovix. We're here to support you during that time, and turn this whole thing around.
I appreciate the counsel. Thank you very much.
Russ?
Well, I'd be interested in what Dr. Schellheimer has to say, but in 2001, I had a radical prostatectomy, and I'm the poster boy for complications. And I won't go into the details, but if I had that decision today, I would clearly take radiation, especially with these nomograms that suggest the recurrence rate and when you would need radiation in the process. But I'm a poster boy for complications of both surgery and radiation. There's nothing free. I mean, radiation gave me a contracted bladder with a volume that's incredibly small, but surgery almost killed me. So I don't know if I had consulted with Dr. Schellheimer many years ago. So I'd be interested to hear what he has to say, what he would choose today.
Well, thanks, Russ. I'm going to say at age 73, I agree with what's been said with the radiation decision. If you were 63, I think then it's a real toss-up as to what your psyche and desires are. I mean, it comes down often to what the patient really thinks and is comfortable with. So that's how I would give advice currently, but your age is such that I tend more to radiation. Now, if you came in and were just absolutely gangbusters, had to have that out because there's no other thing you can live with. You're a healthy 73 and you're appropriate for surgery with regard to the details, but it would not be my first recommendation currently.
Thank you.
I'm going to jump over to Gary Martin now.
Okay, before you do that, Bob, I just put the link to the webinar we had earlier this year on Prostox with Dr. Whitehouse, who developed it. She's at UCLA. It'll help you understand a little bit more about the SBRT and the Prostox test for when you see Kishan on Friday.
Okay. I see him tomorrow. for God's sake.
Oh, tomorrow. Okay, well,
Yeah.
it's fairly short. Check it out.
I see a link for Livestrong. I do not see the link for Prostox. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've got to scroll down. I've got to scroll down. Thank you. There it is. Got it. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
Gary.
Yes, a couple of quick topics. We have time. My follow-up PSMA scan Monday and was reading through the radiologist report, trying to interpret it. It's kind of got some vague and confusing language in it, although it seems to indicate a good response to the triplet therapy. I can forward that to you, Dr. John. Maybe
sure.
You can take a look at it.
Okay.
In the interest of time, and the focus is around the question of if you've had a effective triplet therapy on a high volume disease, does that then possibly bring in the possibility of debulking and MDT going forward? So other question is elevated liver enzymes. My primary doctor was following up on that and did the labs Friday, found elevated labs, and they were kind of alarmed, and then did a recheck on Monday, and they were somewhat reduced. I've got those numbers I can share as well. The oncologist suggested holding off on Nubeca for a week and then retesting. I guess I'm wondering if what the implications of suspending Nubeca for a week or 9 or 10 days may be, if any, going forward. To me, it seems as though the enzymes were improving, prior to suspending Nubeca, and that would, to me, indicated that it was the chemo that was responsible for the elevated enzymes, and those were improving going forward without suspending Nubeca. So anyway, if you have any thoughts on that question.
Well, the first question is it harmful to skip a week of Nubeca in order to find out? I wouldn't worry about it myself. I'm not an oncologist, but I would say that's a safe experiment. The second question is, and I'd be interested in what some of the other guys think, that I have a hunch you're right. I have a hunch it's something else besides the Nubeca.
Yeah.
We don't know until you do the AB test, but I can see why you're thinking that way. Other comments or opinions, anyone? I see a hand up. I don't know who it is, though. Let me see. Oh, it's Russ. Is that from before?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Taking it down.
That's from before. Okay.
Yeah.
Other people? Anybody worried about a week off Nubeca?
I agree
No.
with you, John. I wouldn't worry about the week off of Nubeca. It's not going to be any material difference. I also agree with you that it's more likely that chemo elevating your liver enzymes rather than Nubeca, but that's one way to find out. Stop taking Nubeca, see what happens.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Kaushan, what's on your mind? Kaushan, I know you're there.
Just unmuting me.
Okay.
I just wanted to give an update of my recent PSA test. I'm now 5+ years from when I started biclutamide and my first ADT Eligard injection and 4.5+ years since I finished my round of radiation 32 sessions. And my recent PSA test was 0.11. And on June 23rd of this year, it was 0.081 and a 0.081. And my testosterone on June 23rd was 453.
Whoa, wow.
And now I do get wood in the morning. Not every day, but some days.
Oh, that's really good to hear.
Yeah, so I mean, it rose a little, and I know in my last conversation when I talked to you guys in early July, I think it was, that if I get to like 0.2, then I would be in the position to look at having a PSMA or some other kind of scan.
Mm-hmm. But you're going in the other direction.
Yeah, I'm still high. I mean, I went from 0.08 up to 0.11, so it went up a little. But if you go back all this year and last year, it goes up very slow. 0.2, 0.02 or 0.03, or in this case, it went up, 3/100ths. So I mean, it's going slow, and as I say, after over 5 years since I started and then finished the radiation 4.5+ years ago, I've maintained, undetectable until recently. It's gone above 0.08's above undetectable, but still very low.
Just a squeak above. Any comments, anybody? Okay.
So do you guys still agree that at 0.2 I should be looking at having some type of scan to see what's going on?
I do. Anybody else?
Okay, that's what I remember. I mean, at one
Rick,
point someone said
Len, anybody?
0.15, but then they said, well, maybe 0.2 would be better.
0.15 has come up recently as possibly a significant time to indicate you have a little bit less chance of getting a positive test, even if there's disease there, but you have a better chance of catching something early.
Right.
I think standard practice, we had this discussion a few weeks ago, kind of inventoried everybody on the group, and it seemed like most of our docs are still comfortable with 0.2. As far as I know, standard of care has not really dropped to that. Anybody else have a contradictory opinion?
Yeah, I think I'll look, and I will see my medical oncologist, Dr. Graff, at OHSU in mid-January, so little over a month from now.
Tell us what he says about that 0.2, 0.15 controversy.
Actually, it's a she.
She.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what I talked to her about it when I saw her in July, because I said I heard 0.15 and 0.2, and she says I suggest 0.2.
Good.
So
I still have two guys left. Rick, do you want me to continue a little overtime, or do you want to postpone them till next week?
We can go through we can go through till about 1/4 after. We've got MS coming into this room. How many guys do you have left, John?
I have two, and one of them's Jim Marshall.
Okay. Let's try and get through. Guys, try and be as brief as you can. Let's try and get these last two guys if possible, please.
Okay, Captain.
Okay, a quickie. Dr. Russ, sit up at attention, please. I have a question for you. Last week I mentioned I was on a treatment holiday, 3.5 years. So the PSA is 0.1, testosterone is 33, and I mentioned that I believed my down there have then given up the ghost, and you said, oh no, it's the pituitary gland. Could you explain, in other words, is my pituitary gland at fault? Is it dead? Is it sort of on life support, or how does it work?
Okay. Well, there are other people here that could address this. I'm a surgeon, so we don't deal so much with geology. We're cutters, but basically all of this is related to, like, ADH or androgen deprivation is related to something stimulating the pituitary until it fails. So initially, like I think Rick has talked about flare that occur when you stimulate the pituitary to increase gonadotropic hormone. Actually, Dr. Shellhammer can probably answer this better than I can. But so it's not the testicle that the testes are fine. It's related to the pituitary does not recover from this excess stimulation that it gets. Anybody want to add to that, or is Dr. Shellhammer? There he is. He's the expert on it.
Thanks, Russ. I think it's a little bit of both. Your absence of stimulation causes atrophy, and suppression of your pituitary axis causes it to fizzle out. So you're kind of, I think, at a disadvantage at both ends of the spectrum.
Okay, so the pituitary, what else, because it happened to fizzle out, what else can it cause? If it can cause other
I mean, your
things.
pituitary excretes or secretes a number of hormones. The LHRH hits specifically the LH luteinizing hormone pocket in your pituitary. It doesn't affect some of the other areas, like for your adrenal gland and for your growth hormone and such. So it's pretty selective. So fortunately, the rest of your pituitary is working, but the axis that stimulates the testicles isn't.
Okay. Okay, fine. It's just handicapped. Okay, fine. Cool. Thank you very much.
Our last question, which we brought up when we were talking to Richard, is there a standard of care during the course of Pluvicto treatment of when to get the first PSA and even most particularly the first PSMA PET scan to see how you're doing?
Can you?
So, John, I brought up that issue because Richard said he's not going to have a PSMA PET until he finishes the 6 treatments, and I was just going to say it's very variable depending upon where you're being treated as to what protocol is used. There are some areas, some centers that get a PSMA PET after 2 or 3 infusions, but I think you need to certainly have PSA monitoring, because if it's not moving, you're worried that you're not making any impact on the disease and more might not be better. And if it's gone dramatically to a lower number, then you should get a scan to see if you need more. And because once the PSMA has taken up the radioisotope, if there's no more left, all you're doing is treating your salivary glands and your kidneys. So there's a balance of too much isn't a good thing. So that was just my thought with regard to depends where you are as to what the protocol is.
Okay, the protocol in the radiation oncology is wait till after 6. But my medical oncologist turns out to have the call, I understand. And that is, I wish I could turn that off. Anyway, And I
What is,
see
what is your PSA done, Richard?
my PSA when I was first diagnosed was 2.
Before
It has
before
gone
you
down,
yeah.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
and that was 2021. It's never been there was one way back in, I think in 2016, they had a 4.
So when you started your Pluvicto, what was your PSA?
Oh, 0.
Yeah.
Undetectable.
So Paul, let me just explain. Richard has foamy. Richard has foamy gland. I don't know if he told you. I'm assuming this was a discussion from before we started, before you switched on the recording, and I came in a little late. So for the sake of people who are listening on the recording, this was discussed before we turned on the recording. Otherwise, people are going to wonder where this all came from. Richard has foamy gland, and so that may you may not have been aware of that, and it's
No,
obviously
that changes the discussion. Yes, okay.
I'm still on ADT. All the way through this, I've had nodules, metastasis to all of the lobes of the lungs. And I think the terms are either somewhere 130, one radiologist counts, it's in the hundreds anyway. That has been stable ever since I started ADT, and then I went to chemo, and I went to triplet with Abby and prednisone.
So Richard, because of time, let's focus really razor sharp on the point of when to get PSA tests and when to get PSMA scans.
I'm curious, and I'm going to bring it up with Dr. Allen, the medical oncologist, on the 15th about getting it.
Yeah.
The radiation oncology protocol has been 6, and that's basically it. I'm just going along. Now, the other question you had was, how do I feel? I have a headache today, but it was this afternoon I had the third treatment, and then, but I have felt better now since I've been on Pluvicto and ADT only. Then I've did all the way through 20 sessions of chemo, and it's a triplet, other triplet treatments, or duplicate or twin or whatever you want to call it, the 2 at a time. I've never been down to a single treatment since I started.
Well, it's good you feel that way. Well, listen, gentlemen, I've got to turn this room over to the next group. Sorry to have been so pushy tonight during group. We had too much to do in the time we had it, but it's still been a great group with a lot of real interesting questions. And we'll meet again on Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Thank you all for coming.
Hold on a minute, John. Hold on.
I'm staying. Okay, I got.
And Bob Young, are you all? You're all sorted out now. I've actually made a change in that on the website, and we'll turn. It was showing up as an event. We'll turn it into a blog post for future people, and we've added.
Yeah, I just Googled Prolux and ANCAN, and it popped up on YouTube. So
it popped right up. Yeah, I did the same thing.
I got it
semi-fixed. I've semi-fixed it.
I've got it.
We
Thank
should
you